This episode of Grilled is sponsored by Rationale, your leading provider in multifunctional hot food preparation equipment. Register now for a free Rationale live demo at www.rationale-online.com.
Oh, that's very tough. I think I'd choose Gordon Ramsay. He's a pussycat compared to my wife.
Arsenal are just like a nothing team now, aren't they?
Ooh. I personally think he was his PA, he was bringing his PA for lunch, and she was a vegan.
Nobody ever called it foraging. It was just scratching around in dirt.
Yeah, Halston's got some habits, all right.
The prostitutes, football, and Gordon Ramsay, and 4% dwarfs. That is obviously true.
Firstly, Nicola Sturgeon should off. Last time I was in Thailand, I ate a raw buffalo and its offal and blood and bile lard.
That's some fat, bloated, bearded mess.
By which C word do you mean? Because if I'm thinking of the C word to go with the government, it's a very different one to the one that you might be talking about.
Welcome to Grilled by the Staff Canteen. I'm Cara, the editor of the Staff Canteen. And if you enjoy this episode, please do recommend us or rate us where you get your podcasts, because the more listeners, the better. This is the final episode of Keeping It in the Family. It's actually a bonus episode because I wasn't supposed to have my lovely guests on today. They're an extra, which I'm very much looking forward to. And I've been talking to all those people in hospitality who have braved working with family. So my guests today are chefs and co-owners of Orwells restaurant. Since launching the restaurant, it's won the Good Food Guide Restaurant of the Year in 2017. It's got 4 AA rosettes, and they've also appeared on BBC Saturday Kitchen, James Martin Saturday Kitchen, and The Great British Menu. Ryan and Liam Simpson-Trotman, welcome to Grilled.
How you doing? You right?
Hi there. How are you both? I know we've had a bit of a chat beforehand, but how are you for the lovely listeners?
Well, we're all good. You know, we're loving life as much as we can love life at the minute. Yeah, but we're just, cracking on like most people are doing in hospitality, just trying to survive. I think trying to keep busy.
That's the key. That is the key. And you mentioned obviously that you're doing your takeaway boxes and you've gone national with those for Valentine's. So that's going to keep you very, very busy.
Very busy indeed. Yeah, so we obviously, like we said a bit before, we launched our Orwells community shop. So within 48 hours going to lockdown 1, because we're now in 3, we decided to put a shop online, support the local community, and it was great. I mean, we are 11 years old this year. So we've got a lot of customers come through our doors in a decade. And, a lot of locals who don't use the restaurant because we've grew as a business, our food's developed. Some people might say it's a bit posh, but we stripped it right back. We do things like fish and chips on a Friday. 300 fish and chips plus. We do a Smokies chicken shack and barbecue grill, very good, which is amazing. And also our pizzas, which some people say it's better than in Monaco, which we're quite surprised. So it's quite good, really. We're quite fortunate where we are as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to sort of adapt your business. And then we had to strip it, like Liam said, strip it right back, keep it simple. And you know what? I'm making some of the best smoked meats I've ever done in my life. Yeah. Fish and chips, absolutely banging. And I'm pretty good at pizzas now, so.
Lots of new skills.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Right, well, before I go into my fun couple questions, I do have one question, because I do like to have a bit of a Google before I have a chat, because I feel like it's the only opportunity where I'm allowed to do it, because if it's wrong, then you can tell me it's wrong. So I've written it down. No one else needs to see it. I can ask you direct. So I noticed that obviously you got your Michelin star when you worked at the Goose.
Yeah.
And when I Googled that, the first thing that comes up, and it's always, you've made it when you've got a Daily Mail headline. And that was the Michelin starred restaurant sees staff storm out after owner says food is too poncy. Which, I just needed to ask you about that, because after winning a star, I bet you didn't see that coming.
No, we were actually eating at the Fat Duck on January the 15th, 2010 for my birthday. And we had our phones off and we came out the Fat Duck. And all of a sudden we turned our phones on. We had about 20 missed calls. Some Michelin star chefs had called us, people we know in the industry. Congratulations. We're like, what the hell? And then, we were overjoyed. But unfortunately for us, we were in the wrong company, should I say, as in like the people that owned the restaurant. It just wasn't to be, was it really?
No, I remember it to this day because it was Ryan's birthday and it was that year when it was the bad snow. So we saved up all our tips. We had 700 quid and we thought, what should we do? We can't go on holiday. So we went to Fat Duck. And the thing is, we were kind of like having a tasting menu with wine, so we were kind of like slightly drunk.
Good, I'm glad.
So we didn't know what to. I mean, and that was the first year that Michelin actually leaked the results, if you remember, all them years ago. And we didn't believe it, to be fair. And yeah, like Ryan said, we got the start. I mean, I cried for like half an hour because I know Ryan's background, he's always worked in Michelin-starred restaurants. So it's kind of like, it's like the epitome of your cooking. And how old were you? Were 25? 26?
Yeah, 26 that day, weren't
Yeah,
it?
26. Yeah. And I thought, God, that's young for a chef to get a start. And obviously, it's one of the youngest probably in Britain who's ever got a start. And I was just so made up, but it was not to be. When we told the owner about the place, the first thing he wanted to do was strip the food back, get more tables in there. And we just tried to tell him, like, look, Paul, the Michelin star is being won for the food that we've been producing, not the food we're about to produce. And we couldn't come to any agreement. So we sat down with the staff. We had a little chat. And, he was a nice guy, but a horrible man. We all liked working together as a team. And Ryan decided, look, we're going to hand our notes in. I mean, I don't like change. I'm like a mother. When I get a nest, I like to lay in it and like produce loads of little kids in it and like just, like look after everybody. But I cried, didn't I?
Yeah, I
just did not like it.
It's very hard when you build something up and you kind of like treat it like your own. But it was good practice for us to get our own place. And then after that, we were just like, we want our own place now, and we need to get our own place. And we kind of just like we went on the dole. We signed on the dole because we were out of work. I put a business plan together. We had a lot of offers because obviously you just want a Michelin star. A lot of people want your hot property sort of thing. We had a lot of offers. We turned them all down, and we had one from Breakspear Pub Company who then just said, "Look, let's do the deal that you want to do. We'll, do what you want, basically." And we struck a cracking deal.
Yeah.
11 years later, we're still here, and we've got a fantastic relationship with Breakspear, who we lease the property off. So. It's for us. It's been a great opportunity.
It's one of those everything happens for a reason kind of stories, really.
Yeah. I mean, the most amazing thing about getting a star was not actually getting it. It was realizing that things are possible if you work hard. And we were so humbled. I mean, I say we. I know Ryan was the head chef, but obviously I was like his best person in the kitchen. But it's kind of like we started in a restaurant and 18 months later, we were given the star. It was like, wow. And then we look back now thinking we probably never deserved the star because the food that we were creating back then is nowhere near as good as it is now. But that's just maturity, developing, getting advice from, great chefs. I mean, one great chef we've had good advice off was actually Sat Baines. When we went to eat there in 2013, we just said to him, we've got a restaurant, we tried to cater for everybody. We do fish and chips, we do burgers, we've got the fine dining, we've got tasting menu. We're just trying to capture an audience. But he said, no, what you boys need to do, you need to home in on the food that you love cooking, pull on all your memories, and then just go for it. And ever since then we have. And that's where we've elevated, to get our 4 rosettes, the Good Food Guide Awards. And we're just so lucky that we can actually have a restaurant in the middle of the countryside and people come to us because it's not easy not having the footfall. It's just pure reputation and word of mouth.
I think listening to your customers as well. We've done a lot of that over the years. Which is
you got to take criticism, and we take criticism when we don't moan about it. We just think, okay, we need to change it. We need to redevelop this. And it's good, actually. We've got some customers we use as guinea pigs and testers. I'm like, try this, what do you think? And they give us honest feedback.
Freebies.
Yeah. I know a lot of chefs, we don't like constructive criticism because sometimes chefs throw the toys out the pram type thing.
They don't, do they?
Yeah. It's very important because it allows you to grow as well. And you enjoy it more because, it's not even a job for us. It's our hobby. So we just enjoy it. It's it's cool.
Well, like I said, I think obviously that happened for a reason because you are where you are now, and like the rest is history, as they say. So, right, no more googling. That was just the one I wanted to ask. So my first set of questions are for you as a couple. So, Ryan, if Liam was a Marvel superhero, who would he be and why?
You know what? I'm going to be really sad here and say I don't know nothing about Marvel.
I knew you were going to do that,
I know it's like them characters.
He's not joking.
I'm not joking. I'm serious. I do not watch anything like that.
You'll have to make up a superhero instead.
Well, whoever the most sort of like calm and collective superhero is, yeah, like, he's very calm.
I wouldn't be a superhero, honestly. I'd be like the superhero sidekick. That's
Right.
Like I am, because I'd be like Robin and he could be Batman type thing. Because I don't like that. I never like to be at the forefront of anything. I'm happy to just be like just at the side. And I've always said that I never want to be a head chef. I want to be the world's best sous chef. But unfortunately, I'm not.
And that's the beauty of our relationship, is that I've always got the best sous chef and Liam's always got the best sous chef, because we both just bounce off each other. So, you know, like in a kitchen, and I know there's probably going to be a lot of chefs listening to this, when you're in a kitchen and you are a head chef, you're forever searching for your perfect sous chef, your right-hand man, your sidekick, the one that's always got your back. Because as much as a lot of creative chefs are out there, they always need somebody who's a workhorse, somebody who puts head down, somebody who works hard. And
everything.
Basically runs the kitchen, keeps the kitchen organised. Then I just come in and say, "Oh, we're going to change that." So,
yeah, that's a very good question, because I'm just sitting here thinking, if there ever was a superhero, who would I be? I just can't think. Superheroes have so many qualities, don't they? And you just can't get them all rolled into one. That's it.
Really.
Do you know what? I'll tell you something now. I'll tell you one Marvel character that I do love, Deadpool. If that's
yes.
I think Deadpool's amazing.
Yeah.
Actually watched it today and he's like, turn this crap off the TV now.
Right, well, next question. This is obviously purely hypothetical, but what possession what possession would Ryan save if the house or the restaurant was on fire and you had to grab one thing? What would it be?
Do you know what you'd grab?
Apart from him, obviously, but
you know what you'd grab? The computer and the safe. I'm not even joking. So a couple of years ago, you know, when we had that really hot summer and it was so dry and all the grass was turning brown. So the farmer cut his wheat and then he was selling on the straw to another farmer. So the contractors came in and their tractor caught fire with this massive explosion in the back of Orwells field. So the tractor from the farmer came out to draw a fire break, and then his tractor got stuck on a rock and his blew up. And all of a sudden we were surrounded by flames about 20 foot high.
We had to evacuate the whole building. It was.
I grabbed my wedding album and the dogs. Ryan grabbed the safe and the computer. I thought, not even thinking about like the dogs, nothing like that. But you know, the thing is though, the business is important just as much as everything else. So I look after the good stuff. They're the living things. Ryan look after the computer because he thinks if I've got the computer, I've got the business. He just can't escape. So that's it. Yeah, the laptop and the safe. Sad.
So I mean, I was saying that this is not going to happen, but it's already happened. So.
Literally, no, we thought Orwells was going to go up in flames. We were probably about 3 meters away from being on fire.
Half the garden got burnt out and everything. Lost like,
the outbuildings got burnt down. The garden, yeah, but we were literally about 2 or 3 meters away from being on fire.
It was like, you remember that movie Backdraft with Kurt Russell? Yeah. Like all these firemen came from nowhere, jumped over the fence and stood there with the hoses tackling it. I was like, wow.
But I tell you what, it was definitely no Diet Coke break at all. Definitely not.
Devastated. What's the point in having a garden full of firemen?
I thought firemen were supposed to be in shape.
The restaurant manager was excited. You thought, oh, lots of young boys, middle-aged men with big beer bellies.
But they put the fire out, which is what they're supposed to do.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. Ryan, what would Liam say is your worst habit?
Oh, I've got loads. I don't know. What would be my worst habit?
It's your question. I know what it is. I know what it is. It goes through me.
Oh, biting my nails.
Oh, it's annoying. So annoying. He doesn't bite them down, just like bites a little bit off or flicks it and clicks it.
Oh yeah, when I go like that, I go like that. And he hates that.
I hate that. That just goes through me.
I think, yeah. I mean, I suppose you've always got loads of bad habits, haven't you? In the sense that I used to be smoking. I give that up about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Maybe just drinking too much whiskey.
What's too much whiskey?
Well, yeah, I know. It's never too much.
When a gin and tonic starts off with 100 mils of gin, that's a lot now.
What now? Is that what you've got in your cup now?
I wish. No, that's when you're going out. But unfortunately, we're a bit restricted nowadays, isn't it? Which is a shame.
Yeah. What's going out? I forgot what that is.
I can't wait to get out and go.
Okay, well, I mean, you were very quick to say what that was, so I think we've got our answer there for the worst habit. Here's one for both of you. Who is the boss? Right. You're pointing, and that doesn't work on a podcast, so you need to say.
Definitely the boss.
Do you know what?
If the most level-headed.
If the most organised, the most calm, and the most level-headed is the boss, well, I will take the reins. But you know what? We see ourselves as very equal. But when I raise my voice, he's like, okay, I'll take a step back now.
Yeah, I think that's why it works so well with both of us, because we've got a good understanding of what, certain decisions, what one will make and the other one will make, and it's like how it usually works is like within 4 months of opening Orwells, I wanted a fleet of restaurants because I thought, oh, this is good, playing restaurant. Let's get another one. And Liam's like, nah, you need to sort it out, and then he puts all the problems in front of me. Then I kind of like, nah, I still want it. And then I have to be sort of like shown in a way that, so he keeps me grounded, I'd say.
He says, I like to play the game devil's advocate, but I don't. I like to present, when some of the, like Ryan says, oh, we'll get another restaurant. I'm like, that's fine. But then when you present 1,000 problems and only one solution comes back, it's not ready to get a restaurant. He's like, okay, yeah. But, we still make mistakes every single day in this place. But we kind of realize it's not a mistake. It's just another way of learning to do it. And that is all it is with us. And that's why it takes so long to get things right in life, because we're just forever, obviously, questioning it. We are not perfectionists, maybe only in our own restaurants. We're nowhere near perfect. But what we do, I think we do quite well. Like Ryan says, because there's two of us, it's two problems, it's two solutions, and then it's getting the balance to make sure that it's going to be right.
Yeah.
So we don't have to look back and revisit that problem ever again.
Yeah. It sounds like you work very well together. So
he runs the business. So Ryan will be like the office. He runs the business in that sense. I cannot stand paperwork, office work. I'm more like, I like to clean, organize, I like to crack on with mise en place. I love to do all the gardening and stuff. So I'm more creative in that sense, where he loves, I can give him a laptop. He's happy.
But something like this lockdown has been quite interesting, because like the whole food packaging. So we've been doing the whole sort of takeaway from day one, and we've evolved that takeaway. But my idea of takeaway, just whack in a bag, let's give them it. I mean, literally, I would put it in the carry bag and say, there you go, enjoy your takeaway, enjoy your packed lunch. Whereas Liam is very his skills are very much like, it has to be perfect packaging, everything has to be labelled. Like I was like, don't worry about the allergens, it's fine, they know what they're eating.
When he said don't worry about the allergens, I was like, EU law 2014, no way.
And Liam's like got it all. It's like everything's like spot on. So yeah, I think without Liam we'd probably be sued by
so.
Our very first busy takeaway, like, because we're talking packaging now, was Mothering Sunday 2020. So we thought, great, we probably only did about 50. No, we did almost 200 meals that day. We just got enough packaging. So we thought, what carry bags we'll use now? When you go to the supermarket, you always get your bags and you forget to take them. So you're constantly buying 10p bag. I think we had like 100 bags upstairs in our little cupboard. So we put them all in there. We ran out. What should we do? Bin bags. We were putting food in black sacks. We thought we've ruined the takeaway.
Happy Mother's Day.
I know nobody will ever come back to Orwells, but I think it was what was inside the black sack. People obviously appreciated them.
Yeah. Everybody today has been back and enjoyed it more.
Because for us, that's like the standard of food had been maintained, but the outer look of it is like, that's not an Orwells meal. It's like Santa Claus has just dropped the bag off for the naughty boys. Oh, that was so bad, wasn't it?
I love the idea of getting your food in a bin bag. Brilliant. Liam, what would Ryan say is his favourite thing about you?
I'm going to be soppy and say everything, but I don't know.
He loves himself,
So, do you know what? It's hard to say, because when you're in a relationship, because it's difficult. It's not difficult, but me and Ryan have been working together, like I said, for 13 years. But we've only been dating out of a working environment for like 9 months. So we've kind of, it's hard, isn't it? Because we've got to know each other.
Yeah, but what do I often say to you? Like,
I don't know, everything. Shut up.
He's very caring and very thoughtful.
Oh yeah. So
Very,
he always
very
says that. He goes, yeah, true. So for me, because hospitality is our game, I just love when people get fed, make sure people are watered. So say if we had people around here in a normal environment, I'd be the one who'd be running around after everybody, make sure that they're comfortable, they've got drinks. And he goes, you know what? You're amazing. It's like last night, we popped round to Ryan's parents, stood on the path to give them some food. And I'd done 2 little lemon tarts. I put on one box mine for Ryan's mum. And then on the other box, I put mine for later. But because I love you, you can have it now for Ryan's dad as a joke. And he goes, you know what? You're just so caring. You're so thoughtful. So yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I'll do anything for anybody. I won't say no. I can't say no. It's not in my nature, is it? I'll only say no to Ryan. That's it.
Because he wants a load of restaurants, that's why.
Exactly. I suppose that'll be it, how caring and thoughtful I am, and I always put everybody else before myself. But that's just who I am. I think that's just my parents have taught me like that.
Oh, that's nice. They're very nice qualities that I don't think you can teach people. So it's lovely that you have those naturally. So
I'm one of those. I was raised up, not dragged up.
So final question. Which one of you is most likely to cook at home?
Ryan.
Me.
I do not do any cooking on our days off whatsoever.
Liam cleans and I cook. There we go.
Yeah, perfect.
That's how it works.
Okay.
I do everything. I clean. I pick up the dog poo. Do all the ironing. Do everything.
But every time he does cook, because he does cook every now and then, he goes, this is much better than your cooking.
Oh, you're so modest.
Oh, no. So, a little story. So a couple of weeks ago, we got some Dover soles in. So he's like, you can cook tonight. I'm like, I can't be bothered cooking, Ryan. I said, you should do the cooking because we only cook 3 days a week for ourselves, like Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, and then the rest are in work anyway, so we just have whatever. And I said, oh, I'll cook. No, I didn't say I'll cook. He was on the phone to his brother or my brother.
Yeah.
And I went downstairs. I had some couscous left, like Moroccan spice couscous with sultanas and apricots, spring onions, all ready to go. So I slit the sole down the middle, fanned it out, stuffed it up on papillotta, put it in the oven. And you know what? It was absolutely amazing.
It was
I'm not even joking. I'm not like bigging myself up, but just the flavors. It was just so exciting. It was like a party in the mouth.
It's Liam's final words to me after it's finished. He goes, I can honestly say that was the best Dover sole I've ever had. And I cook fish much better than you do.
Yeah, but then Ryan...
So bonus, I don't have to cook again.
But then Ryan you did turn around and then say, literally, I know why now. Mrs. Blumenthal, Heston's mum, God rest her soul, said that Liam's cooking of fish is much better than yours, Ryan. I was like, take that. I do enjoy cooking, but it's like now, like we had a meal last night and, we leave our dishes downstairs and I'll get up at 7 o'clock and I just love to go and clean because I like a clean environment. So I'll get up, wash all the dishes and then I'll make him a coffee and he'll be like, morning. Where's my coffee? Like, here it is, ready to go. He's like, thank you very much. Like, what was that advert? The Kenko advert with the coffee. Was it Linda? She was always behind him with the coffee. I'm one of them, always behind him, ready to go. Whenever you come there.
I'm having my tea though today.
The idea of you sneaking about behind with a coffee, just ready to go.
You know what I call myself? Emily from The Devil Wears Prada. He's and I'm Emily. I've got everything ready to go for him, so he doesn't stumble. But it's good. I like it. I don't mind it.
Well, you sound like you've got a good balance, and I feel like I've learned some really interesting things about you both there. So thank you for being so honest. Right, on to questions about working together. So when you've kind of touched on it a little bit, but when and how did you first meet? Because people might not know that.
Online. It was what was it?
It was a forum called Gaydar.
It was same
back in the day.
Sort of forum.
So you get these seedy ones, Grindr. So it's not seedy like Grindr or cheap like Tinder. It was kind of like a Facebook page for gay, lesbians, bisexuals. So, being obviously from Liverpool, big city, and Ryan was from Coventry, Nuneaton Way, I moved away at 19 and I joined this platform before I moved away. And it was kind of nice because I never told my parents I was gay until I came back to Liverpool a couple of days before they met Ryan. And I think getting away was the biggest or the best thing I've ever done in my life. At 19, I moved to Devon, went to live on Dartmoor, So it's a bit strange, really, how I went from living in the city to the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's brought my passion out in cooking and just living in the countryside now. But I could be myself. And like Ryan says, I think there was a message on my computer and she said, hello. I thought, not another weirdo, because there's so many weirdos in this world.
It was weird how I just messaged.
And then I messaged back, hi, how are you? Seeing that he was in Torquay. And we chatted probably for about a month before we met.
Yeah, I think like the drive back in the day, well, it's still to this day, but not as much because obviously we've got our own things that we do. But back in the day, you know, it was all about who brought the latest cookbook out. You'd make the pilgrimage to sort of like Notting Hill to the cookbook shop, and you'd go and buy books for cooks, and you'd go and buy yourself a cookbook, or you'd get. I mean, Amazon weren't really that big back in the day.
It was only books. Amazon
sort of like 2006, I'd say. It weren't that big, and we were kind of like, so you go to London and you get your cookbooks, and I had the latest David Everett Mathias book, which was Essence, and so did Liam, and I was like, we started talking about it, and it was just like so inspiring to talk with other people. You know, I was a sous chef at the Elephant for Simon, and that was like the best restaurant in the area by far, and I think it still is at present. You know, and you know, it was kind of like, oh, you work at Bovey Castle, I've seen that place, and it was kind of like, you know, we were just intrigued by each other, by, you know, the food and the excitement of cooking and this, that, and other. So that brought us together, definitely. And then we met, and we known each other for about 3 months before we met, didn't we?
He says we met. He missed the part where he stood me up. He missed that part. I know.
Apparently so.
Apparently it's true. I tell everyone the story. He said we were organised to meet, and I just sat next to waiting. Went to Waterstones and bought a Dean Koontz horror story. Thought I'll just start reading. He never showed up. I could not believe it. He goes, oh, sorry, I had to go and meet the butcher over some meat. I thought, oh, yeah, whatever. whatever, yeah, that's fine. But we did meet. When we met. I remember it to this day. I was sitting in my nice little Ford Fiesta. Ryan came in this little rusty corned beef tin of a car. I don't know what it was. What was it?
Astra 1.2.
Rubbish car. We met in Torquay in the Imperial Hotel. We had a cup of tea, and I didn't fancy him. I just thought, oh, he's a ginger. Oh, boring. But ginger guys are the hottest guys now for me. So
I was intrigued by Liam because I couldn't understand the bloody word he was saying.
I remember I did message him once before we actually met, and I said, oh, I'm back in the pool. And he thought I was rich and had a pool in my house, but pool's Liverpool. He didn't even know. But I remember you saying that. We spoke on the phone for the first time. And then when we actually met, and a couple of weeks after, or months, he actually said the very first conversation we had, I never understood what you said at all.
You just nodded politely.
Just his house. But yeah, so literally we met it was March, as in physically met. And he came round to the house I lived in for my 22nd birthday. I just said, everyone, this is Ryan. Ryan, this is everyone. And that was it then. And he was part of everyone's world. And then it wasn't until the September you met my parents, was it?
I actually rocked up at this party with 2 cookbooks. One was Michel Bras, which is still to the date one of the best cookbooks ever, or for definitely visually. And C's Elder, which is a guy, a Scandinavian, well, Denmark, isn't he? C's Elder. And at the time, he was like, yeah, you've got to see what this guy's doing, basically. So, yeah, it was quite cool, wasn't it?
And that was the very first time we said to Ryan on that night, I love you. You know, we feel quite lucky that, you know, because in hospitality, it's hard.
Well, I was going to ask, how has that been? I mean, it might be completely irrelevant, and you might not have had any issues with it whatsoever. But
so, I mean, not like the heterosexuals in the industry is hard anyway. I know a lot of hospitality people like to have a lot of fun, but there's only so much fun you can have in life, isn't there, before you need to like fall in love and settle down?
I think the hardest thing is like finding that perfect somebody, regardless if you're heterosexual, same sex, whatever. You know, finding somebody in the industry, and a lot of people end up going with people who's a waitress, waiter, or in the kitchen working with you, and it's kind of like really difficult because like we've employed people before, and they've ended up leaving because it's long hours and they're single. And they can't meet nobody, and they get depressed because they see everybody else meeting people because the hours are just incredibly crazy. And regardless of what everybody's saying at the minute with let's do 40-hour weeks, it's not happening. No one's doing it because you have to prove yourself. So if you're a young chef who is single, who's going through the ranks, you are still actually doing what we done back in the day, proving yourself to try and climb that ladder. Because if not, you'll just become a worker and you will never get further up that ladder. So it's kind of like, if you're going to go places,
hard,
you need to push your balls a little.
And as a same-sex couple, have you come across any prejudices within hospitality, or is that not been an issue for you guys?
I wouldn't say prejudice, just maybe a bit of pressure back in the day, because it's a very macho environment, but it's just a very male-dominated kitchen, well, for us, dominated environment where everybody was talking about what they'd got up to at the weekend down the nightclub and who they'd slept with, sort of thing. So, it's like, it's very like, boisterous. But yeah, I mean,
I've never honestly, because I'm not a shy person. We are not like, it's hard to say without being horrible saying it, but we are not like gay acting. You know what I mean? We're very straight. People who say we're a couple, they're like, oh, your business partner's like, no, we're actually a couple. They're like, I've never seen that coming, type thing as well, which, it doesn't bother, but I've never felt it. I've always been quite like loud and, I'm not afraid to go into a room and start talking to people. I have no fear of that at all. I mean, we've only experienced it once, but that was from our former employer. That was he was a bit of a tosser, really. Sorry for almost swearing. He was just horrible. He'd say things.
You're on a chef podcast, you can swear.
I don't like to swear. I can't afford it.
I'm being very polite at the minute.
Just our old boss. I mean, we have spoken about it before in another catering platform, but it's just things like, when you work hard for somebody and you don't feel appreciated and you feel undervalued, and you say, we need to take holidays, and it's like, why? So you two need to go and skip in the field holding hands. It's like, come on, mates, sort yourself out, get a life. Yeah. We live in the 21st century. We're not from the.
But to be fair, though, I mean, I've never experienced it at all. But we like when I was at the Elephant in Torquay. I came out when I left the Elephant in Torquay, and that was because I met Liam and we moved up north, and we were out as a couple who went to work at Wintringham Fields, Colin McGurran. And it was absolutely fine, totally accepted. There was in the village, the villagers, we were going around people's houses for meals. Everybody's was quite on board with the same-sex couples. It weren't like out of the ordinary. It's quite fine. So really, the only place that we've worked together, and obviously been out as chefs, I would say would be Wintringham Fields. Mm-hmm. And then after, we had our own places. We had Goose and we had Orwells. So, I mean, it's we've never really been exposed to it too much. But
it's always different as well, because in this industry, personally, from my experience, a lot of gay, lesbian, transgender people work front of house, not in the kitchen, because like the kitchen is a pressurized area, isn't it? Now, I can imagine probably people in certain restaurants, I don't even know. I'm not going to name any restaurants. I don't know personally, but I'm sure there's incidents that happen where chefs will take the mickey out of people's sexuality. But I know it's discrimination, but in some ways, kind of like, is it banter? Is it not? Because I've worked in kitchens in Liverpool where none of the chefs have been gay, but the antics they get up to, you think, oh my God, that's well gay. Why'd you be doing that? Like in the changing room, whipping the balls out and running around after each other. It's like, that's proper gay, that, mate. Sort it out.
I actually worked with a guy in France when I was working over at Pierre Gagne's, and he was an English guy, and I didn't even know he was English until about 3 weeks after working with him, because we had to speak French. So we just do our shift, speak French, go home. And then later on, I didn't even know he was gay at the time, but later on throughout my career, I found out that he was gay. It's like, oh, interesting. Why would you hide it? Because he was about 6-7 years older than me at the time, so he was well into his late 20s, maybe.
I think the world we live in now, I think a lot of that stereotype, hospitality, gay people not working it, is changed. There's so many, activists out there, the LGBT. I don't even know the rest of the acronyms for LGBT 97, whatever. It's so big now. It covers a wide spectrum, doesn't it? And I'm proud to be a gay man in hospitality. And we noticed that a lot of our bookings and a lot of our support do come from the LGBT community. You know, one time at Orwells, I think there was only one straight person working here, and we had 7 on the books. We had lesbians, we had gays, and it was just so cool. And it's nice to think that they can work somewhere and not have to hide who they are, because the worst thing is if you're hiding who you are, you're not able to be the person you can actually be. You worry too much about the negativities, and there's so much positivity in the world. And that's one of my biggest sayings, you know, positive people at the end of a working week should feel tired to counteract so much negativity that they can face on a daily basis. And I think that's why Orwells is such a great place to work for anybody. I mean, at the moment, we're only employing 16 to 21-year-olds. We haven't chose to. I think the 16 to 21-year-olds feel like they can work here and develop as people. And a lot of the parents say, thank you for employing my son, my daughter. It's gave them a great foundation. You know, they understand hard work and they really appreciate what you do. And to get on with teenagers in this day and age is not an easy thing. I think we do it quite well.
Yeah. I mean, throughout our career, it's been really difficult because, I mean, a lot of people who will speak of Orwells, who have worked at Orwells, a lot of people say it's a difficult kitchen to work in, and it is, because you've got the 2 owners of the business in the kitchen. So you've never got that sous chef who you can lean on and say, chef's been a bit of a knob today, sort of thing. Or, you know,
that's me. I say that chef's been a knobhead today.
You know, you've never got that kind of like hierarchy. And everybody that's came for a job here, we've said, we're not giving you positions. It's kind of like, let's get our head down, let's make some beautiful food, and let's really enjoy cooking. You know, it's almost like that scene at a Ratatouille where everybody's just in harmony cooking these beautiful little dishes, and that's what we try to create. And throughout the years, it's kind of it's nice to teach the younger generation. You know, we see it as a blank canvas in the sense that they've not had training, because I think we had a bit of a dilemma, especially in the last 6 to 8 years. I'd say we've had a big problem in the industry, in the sense that I call it the agency chef syndrome, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, people have gone down the route for the money side of things rather than learning the skill. So us as young chefs, it was all about getting that cookbook, learning from these top chefs, looking at our peers, looking at all these high-end chefs and learning from them, eating out in restaurants. But now you can literally copy a dish off an Instagram post and call yourself a head chef within a year of in the industry, and then the skill set is let down. So we're always struggling to get experienced chefs or people who have had training, because they've already sort of taken the plunge and took a big wage, and they can't backtrack on that. So when they come to, like, for instance, we've got a guy who sent a CV in he's a head chef at 2 Rosette, and he's looking for a head chef position for us. This was going back a year or two. And I was like, you know, the skill set is not going to be there. We can train, but if we train you, therefore the wages have to go down, and then it causes a big problem. So for us, it's better to try and train them young. And I think after what's happened with COVID, I think there's a lot of people getting more interested in cooking nowadays, which is quite interesting. I think it's going to be good for the future, because people are really cooking at home and they're really getting into it. And a lot of chefs are doing a lot of demos online now, which is quite cool. So
what we've noticed over the last 10 years of our own business, it does get more and more difficult when you employ staff, not for the sake of skill set and teaching. You know, there's a lot of mental health's a massive thing now, isn't it? So it's recognizing people who have got anxiety, mental health. And I think where me and Ryan are good at that aspect, because I'm quite a sensitive person, and I know on a day when my staff are down. And we offer so many facilities for our staff. You know, we can offer counselling sessions. We offer, obviously, time away from work. We can offer giving support for the families. And that's why, like I said earlier on, how the parents thank us for doing what we do, just to obviously see that there are positive people in this world. And hospitality is a beast. You know, you look at the Gordon Ramsays today, you watch Boiling Point thinking, oh my God, how can that happen? But I love that. That gives you fire and adrenaline, I think, personally, on my level. But there's 2 types of people, isn't there, in hospitality? There's those who need that sort of support, and there's those who think, okay, I'm going to take that and run with it.
Right. What is your most memorable moment from working together?
Well, there's quite a few. I mean, accolades are always quite big, aren't they? I think getting something like Orwells was quite memorable. opening the doors of Orwells, and the first thing we ever sold was a lobster and chips, and we thought we're going to be rich.
We're not. Do you know what? For me, there's a few memorable moments. So, obviously, before Orwells was obviously winning a Michelin star, great. But with Orwells, it is actually, like Ryan says, that very first service that you do. I'll never forget that, because we spent 3 weeks refurbing this old pub, and we opened up on the Maybank holiday weekend, and we had 22 covers booked. You know, we thought, you know what, we've done 50 cover services in previous restaurants. We've worked banquets doing 1,000 people. This will be easy. How wrong were we? 22 covers for like 2,000 people. I think we gave away more free alcohol that night than food, and it was hard. So I will never forget that. And then in recent months, I think
fish and chips.
No, it's the refurb of the whole restaurant downstairs.
Oh, it's quite emotional. That
yeah.
Actually.
So
yeah,
it's quite emotional because when we started Orwells, we got 2 dogs, Remy and Truffle, our little beagles, and we lost Remy last year, September. So it was quite a hard year for us too. And it was quite emotional, the fact that, you know, we've worked so hard in 10 years, we can actually afford to do this massive refurb. But then everywhere you look, it just reminded me of my boy not being here. When we keep saying like, oh, we wish he was here. So for me, in recent months, it's definitely having the refurb in the restaurant.
Yeah, the refurb was.
It just shows that, you know, we've worked hard. We've saved a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I mean, it's not easy to make money in hospitality. Everyone who works in it knows that. You know, there's so many overheads. It's kind of like, it's just creating an experience. People, and if you can save a little bit, you'll squirrel it away. And yeah, that's it really. I'd say the refurb.
It was the fact. Yeah, it was the fact that we done something that we didn't think was possible.
Yeah,
we ripped down walls, and we plastered,
broke down bars.
We broke down bars, and we just changed things around, and we had a fresh outlook. And we've always wanted to do that from the start, but we've always done it on the cheap, because we've not had investors. We've never had investors. We had an initial input of money right at the beginning, which we gave back to our friends within 6 months. So it was just like a little hand me out, them straight back. But throughout the years, we've just had to sort of like make our business work. So we haven't been out there and been able to buy the fancy plates, buy the you know, all the nice stuff that you see in a high-end restaurant. We've always wanted to achieve that, but we've had to work through it, haven't we? But now we're getting there, and it's nice. You know, it was nice to put a big plate order in with Goodfellows, and it was lovely to, you know, order some great glasses and, you know, these beautiful tables and these lovely chairs that we've got.
Orwell's foundation was built on Dunelm, IKEA, and TK Maxx.
TK Maxx. TK Maxx for your plates. If you're starting a restaurant, it's the way forward.
Top tips there.
Yeah, top tip. That's how we've always rolled. But then to do something as massive as that, but then it makes you feel like it's a new restaurant. So it's kind of like, you know, the Phoenix. We're reborn, we're regenerated, and that was last October, and that's when we first opened up the restaurant after the lockdown.
That's why we done it, because when we were under pressure from our landlords to reopen in July, because basically they just said, you know, you guys got to start trading again, because we're going to be charging full rent, and, you know, even though we only leased from them, it was kind of like, well, we're not ready to trade because we've been closed down from March. Then on the 4th of July, he was like, yeah, restaurants can open, but restaurants can open with big screens and big stickers everywhere. And I thought, that ain't Orwells. You know, you can't come in and have, you know, because there's an extract at the beginning of Heston Blumenthal's book years ago, the big fat duck cookbook, and it says the front of house service is more important than the kitchen. And still to this day, yeah, it's true. Because you go initially for the food, but you keep going back because of the ambience, because of the service, because of what that maitre d' does, because of, you know, the food always evolving as well, which is quite good. But we couldn't achieve that with screens, and so we thought, well, the only way we can do this, like Liam said about it, is just having a fresh start. So we worked through the summer, then we worked towards opening in October with a full refurb the whole of September, and that was the fresh start. Everything was fresh, freshly painted, fresh toilets.
It wasn't planned, the full refurb. You know, we thought we'll change the ladies' toilets, because for years the ladies have been saying, oh, those toilets are like pub toilets, they're horrible. Thought, okay, we'll get the toilets done. And then Ryan said, oh, we need to get new tables and chairs. So we looked at it, and then he said, oh, it doesn't go with the paintwork. we need to take this down. We need to do this. Honestly, the list was getting bigger.
Before you knew it, I had a sledgehammer.
You pulled a thread, didn't you? You pulled the thread and you
I literally got a sledgehammer in my hand and I started smashing things up. It was great.
It's very satisfying.
Like you say, I mean, the question you asked, obviously the most memorable. It is hard to point in 10 years of being in the same building, something that stands out. And for me, it's hard. And like 10 years, it's just the refurb. Because like Ryan says, it's something that we've worked towards that we thought was never possible. But obviously, with the right guidance and the right mentoring from other people, we've done it.
I do think like the
lucky.
accolades are up there as well. I mean, like Liam said about the star back in 2010 at the old property. But I mean, when we got 4 rosettes, I mean,
I cry every time we get an accolade for the stuff that we just love doing anyway. I do cry.
You know, we got 4 rosettes before some of the top restaurants in this country. And we're like, wow, how have we done that?
And we really appreciate all the guides.
But we feel as though we're always pushing. But our food now is still better than what we had when we had 4, when we got given 4 rosettes. So, because you understand the ingredients more and you understand your suppliers more and you understand your mistakes better, don't you?
Yeah.
And then the Good Food Guide, I mean, the support that we've had of the Good Food Guide and Liz Carter has been just absolutely fantastic in the sense that, they've always watched what we've been doing and we've gradually climbed up through that guide throughout the years. First entry at a 5, then I got
Young Chef of the Year.
Then Orwells got Readers Restaurant of the Year. Then we got Restaurant of the Year. And then we went up to a 7 and we've gradually climbed up that top 50 list. So it's good to show progression within guides as well, which is quite cool, isn't it? Yeah.
So lots of memories then, lots and lots of memorable moments. So what do you like most about being part of a family business then? Because it obviously is something that you do together. What's the best thing about it?
The word family.
Yeah.
Family, because hospitality, like we say, is hard and you don't see your family. You miss things, you can't go to birthday parties. Sometimes you miss funerals or the birth of your brother's babies. And Ryan's parents moved down here 5 years ago from the Midlands. And I thought, oh no, can't be bothered seeing them all the time. Because it was quite nice seeing them once a month.
I'm going to let them hear this.
It's like a treat. They know that anyway. It's like a treat when you see like the in-laws. It's like, oh, somebody different to talk to. But then they moved down. But what they've done for us, even just like on a daily basis, just picking up the phone and just like us offloading a lot of shit to them, basically. They'll listen. And parents are good for that. Parents to listen to anything. My brother worked here for 5 years as the restaurant manager. They are probably some of the best 5 years that we worked with family, because what he brought to Orwells is kind of like a foundation where we've continued to build upon, which is nice. But it's always difficult working with families because families can't be told no. You tell a family member no, World War III. It's terrible.
Yeah, but I think working as a family, having a family restaurant it's just great because you've got like everybody around you who's looking after your best interests. So no one's trying to outdo each other and do one better. Yeah. And if that comes from the top, from Lee and Liam down to our staff, everybody gets that family. And everybody that's worked here have all said, oh, it's just an amazing family atmosphere. It's just great, sort of like being part of that. And I know you've done one of these with Katie and Simon, didn't you, as well?
Yeah.
And it was the same feeling with them guys as well. When I worked at the Elephant, with Simon lived above with Katie and the kids, and it was very much. I was actually there when they had their baby, their first baby, I think, or maybe the second baby. Definitely,
Tansy, Cicely, and. There's 3 girls, isn't there?
Yeah, but when he
sorry, Simon, we know all your 3 girls, but it's been a while.
But when he it was just like a family environment, and it was always treated that way. And I think I learned some qualities from working in places like that as well, because I'd also worked at the other end of the spectrum where it was very regimental, 3 Michelin star. You're picking sorrel all day, sort of thing. It's kind of like. Yeah, it's nice to have that family involved.
I think both of our sets of families have the same values and the same core. Like, family is everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it is true, like blood is thicker than water. And like Ryan said, we live above this place. So when patrons, customers, first time, well seasoned, enter our property, our house, essentially, it's like come into our lounge, have a drink, come into our dining room, take your shoes off if you want to. We want to get to know people. like we get to know family, which is good.
Well, you're clearly, obviously, both very, very passionate, and it's your baby, isn't it? So that is why.
Yeah.
I've not spoken to a couple who are both chefs. So are you both happy to share the limelight?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I
100%.
never wanted to anyway, to be fair. It's like when Ryan done GBM for the first time. I thought, oh yeah, you go and do that, because I never want to do that. And then when they said, oh, we want to do a vetting of Liam, I was like, oh shit, I've got to cook on my own without Ryan. It felt like I was losing an arm or a leg. It didn't feel natural. I felt uncomfortable. I felt quite nervous, didn't I?
Yeah.
But we support each other in every way and where possible we can, because where he's strong and weak and vice versa. You know, we are perfect for each other. And you know, when people say, oh, I don't know, you could work with your partner, I just think give it a go. And what's the worst thing that can happen? You're not going to get divorced, are you? You're not going to split up with them. You just can't work with them. You just don't work with them. You live with them and you love them.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, really, because we have a proper balance, because I go out and speak to some customers. Liam will come out and speak to some customers.
I like the older generation. I like older people.
Some customers that Liam's built a relationship. I tend to, because one of us always needs to be in the kitchen. So, you know, one of us will stay back in the kitchen, one of us will go out, or then sometimes we'll both go out at the end and say hello. So it's kind of like split evenly, isn't it? But it's always kind of happened like that. I think in the early days, I probably took more of the limelight because I was head chef at the Goose, and you know, when we first started here, it was like, who's the head chef? Do you have to put head chef down? And like, it was always these forms coming through from like Michelin and people like that, and it's like, can you have two head chefs? You know, will they mark you down for doing this? You didn't know what to put, but we've always put, we're both the head chef, we're both the owners, and we kind of like
3 years
share
in.
the limelight.
It was probably like 2013. Then I started stepping out to like the shadows as such, and just because I know I'm quite confident, but I thought I don't want to go and speak to people. I just like to cook and like to clean and like to teach the staff how to do stuff. I don't want to go, you know, peacocking around the restaurant like, hello everybody, I'm Liam, nice to meet you.
It's funny that it is quite funny though in this industry where you can just imagine. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen Lenny Henry's Chef when he used to. You ever watch that?
No.
Get it on box set. Honestly, Lenny Henry is chef. Albert Roux's in it actually as well, and it's when he's a chef throughout the 90s, Lenny Henry, and he's got this restaurant, and it's a bit like Lauterland. I think it's that kind of setup. It looks like that kind of place, very posh, very pompous, and all this, that, and the other. And the chef does the parade at the end. I find that really hilarious. You know, because like
we were once in a restaurant. About 4 years ago. So we've got our own business, and they knew that we were in the industry. And then
very high end restaurant.
The guy said to me, the waiter, "Do you want to come and see the kitchen?" I said, "No, not really, mate. I've seen one kitchen. I've seen them all." And he just went, "Oh my god!" He didn't know what to say. He thought it was like some sort of comedy.
But it is like a ritual, isn't it? Like at the end of the meal, it's like, "Would you like to?" And the chef does the tour. I mean, we don't do that, and never have done that. To be honest with you, we done it at the Goose because we thought that was the norm to do. Like, we're trying to get a Michelin star here, so let's do a little parade around the restaurant sort of thing. meet all the chefs and this, that, or meet all the customers. But yeah, not nowadays. No.
My final question is about kind of your future plans. I know you've talked about you've done your refurb, but where do you see yourselves going? And what is there anything that you really want to achieve that you haven't already achieved with Orwells?
Yeah, we're going to leave the industry and become actors.
What? You know what? No. We've always had an eye on getting a second property, as in like a pub, because we feel like Orwells back in the day when we started was a great pub for the community. And obviously, like you said, we developed into this fine affair, you know, nicer service. Well, not nicer service, just more attentive, personalised service. But we feel like...
Well, I've always wanted a restaurant. Liam's always wanted a pub.
Yeah, I've always wanted a pub.
Really nice
always.
Pub. And it kind of like... An opportunity came up just February last year. And we were due to go to the solicitors, sign all the papers, and the deal was done. We were buying our second property. However, a big investment pulled out because of COVID. So it kind of like got washed away a little bit. However, that opportunity may have re-arisen with the same property. So we're kind of like at the minute...
We're hoping.
Well, we've got a lot of emails and discussions to have today, basically. So yeah, hoping that could be the possibility, and that we go on to venture number 2 and build a team around that.
I mean, as Orwells goes, it's just continue to do what we do, keep growing, keep developing, keep training young chefs through the doors and young waiters and waitresses.
I think kitchen refurbs on the cards sometime maybe next year, possibly.
You just want to get your sledgehammer out again, don't you? That's what it is.
I want to get some new equipment, I think. Get some new thermomixers and stuff.
For us, it's just growing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just growing. That's it. It's like nurtured Orwells. It's organically grown as well, like everything that we do. We don't rush into it. Well, I say he rushes into it. I don't like to.
Yeah.
So we can do it naturally and just take our time with it. We enjoy it more as well. We do enjoy it. And there's, I get a buzz in the morning when I get up for work, do the dog walk, and then get my apron on as I'm going down the stairs. It's kind of like, well, I'm somebody else now. It's almost like you feel like a superhero, like you asked the first question. So any superhero that wears an apron, that's who I want to be.
I mean, it's been lovely to talk to you both because, and I've actually, this whole series, I've really loved getting to know people as a couple, as opposed to just, chefs and, head down and you're in the kitchen. And hopefully everyone else has enjoyed it as much as I have. And like I said, I feel like I've learned so much about you both that I didn't know before. So thank you for being so honest. And like you said, hopefully we can get back to normal again soon. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? And but yeah, no, thank you both so much. I mean, I could talk to you all day. I feel like I've kept you so long already.
Oh, it's fine.
Thank you.
We like to chat. We don't get to meet many people in COVID.
No.
So yeah, you've survived Grilled. Congratulations, and thank you very much for doing it.
Thank you. Take care.
We hope you enjoy listening to Grilled as much as we enjoy recording it. If you want to catch up on past episodes, they are all available now. Just search for Grilled by the Staff Canteen where you normally get your podcasts. And if you want to help us keep bringing you the content you love, you can contribute from as little as £1. Just head to thestaffcanteen.com to find out how. This episode of Grilled is sponsored by Rationale, your leading provider in multifunctional hot food preparation equipment. Register now for a free Rationale live demo at www.rationale-online.com.